our last one, so it's just going to be short and sweet. Just want to talk to you a bit about stacking your cakes, which is very important if you're going to be sending your cakes out stacked. Sorry. Okay, so I don't send cakes out that are not stacked. Okay, if you are going to do an unstacked cake and stack it at the venue, then you need to deliver it yourself, or otherwise you need to send a cake out stacked. Sorry, I just ran them. Okay, you cannot expect a customer to stack your cake for you. Okay, I had a 3-tier topsy-turvy cake stacked that flew all the way to Joburg on a plane. Okay, so you need to make sure your cakes are stable. If you're going to be doing a lot of tiers, it's preferable that you have a center dowel that's going to go right through all the cakes. Okay, this is where your planning comes in. If you know you're going to have a stacked cake, you need to make sure that the boards you place underneath your cakes is already going to have a hole at the bottom. I spoke about this earlier. So what you can do is just stack all your boards on top of each other and drill a hole right through the center. Okay, then you have a center hole for all your boards, and that goes underneath each cake. Your center dowel goes into your bottom tier, and then it's easy to just slide the rest of your tiers on. Okay, you still need dowel sticks even if you have a center dowel. Always, if you're going to do a tiered cake, doesn't matter what cake it is, always dowel sticks, first of all, when you have a tiered cake. Okay. Yeah. No. I put mine in the bottom tier and then slide ones on top. Yeah. I use bamboo dowels. I'm trying to steer clear of plastic straws because it's very bad for the environment. Yeah, so I don't use any plastic straws anymore. Yeah, so it's these ones, bamboo dowels. If you're going to be doing a smaller cake, you know those chopsticks you get at the Chinese takeaways? Those are strong enough to use for small cakes. So if you don't want to spend $50 on this and you're only doing small tiered cakes, that's perfectly fine to use. It's bamboo, it's food safe, it's cheap. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just secure my cake onto my customer board, my clean customer board. Now I'm done working with my cake. Now it's time to go onto the customer board. So even if it's a fondant cake, I cover my cakes and then it goes onto the customer board. Okay. Like I said earlier, I use chocolate because it sets quickly. I know a lot of people use royal icing as well, so really it is up to you what you want to use. Like the dark chocolate cake, I use dark chocolate. If it's a fondant covered cake, then I generally use white chocolate to set. Okay. So I'm just going to put a little bit in the center. Oopsie, that's uneven. Let's put it over there. And make sure it's not a lot, because you just want to put a little bit in the center. You don't need to spread it out, because when you put the cake on top, the weight of the cake will spread it out. Okay, you don't want to put too much there, and you put your cake on, and then it's going to spread out the sides of the cake. It's going to feel a little slippery to begin with. You just need to keep it in place for a few seconds for that chocolate to set. Okay, so make sure that you place it where you need it to be and just hold it there. Okay, for a few seconds it will still slip and then it will set hard. Okay, for this mini 2-tier, up until 3-tier, I don't use a center dowel because the chocolate keeps it all in place, unless it's a double barrel. Okay. Now, these are bamboo dowels. They're quite expensive. I could easily have used the chopsticks for this one because it's a very small cake. But just to show you, these are the ones to use bamboo dowels. So just place one in the center of your cake and mark it. Oh, sorry guys, just excuse me for 1 minute. I just forgot the little circle that goes on the top. Just 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so now I've marked the height of the cake. You can remove it. Now, the cake that's going to be stacked on top, you want the dowels to be nicely centered for that. So you can use a cake card or a circle cutter, anything that's a size smaller than the cake you're using, to just mark where your other dowels are going to go. Okay, so this is a 4-inch cake, so it's the size of a 3-inch board, so it's one size smaller. I'm just going to make 4 little marks where I want my other dowels to go. So I'm using 1 in the center and 4 on the sides. Now I've marked this one. I know how high my cake is, so now I can use this measurement to cut the rest of my dowels. I'm just lining it up. I'm using this to just line it up and make sure that it's even. Okay, so now I have 4 dowels that's going to be the same length. Okay, you want to make sure that your dowels are the same length. If your cake is a little skew and you're going to cut your dowels the same height as the cake, then your top tier is also going to lean. Okay, at least when your dowels are the same length, it will just keep your top tier straight, and it creates the illusion that your cake is perfectly straight. Okay. And you may want to get a bigger one of these. You can use some sandpaper or an emery board to just smooth the edges, if you want. Oh, guys, just a little tip. If you're going to be using a center dowel and you're sticking it into your bottom tier, if you put your center dowel in, look for the corner of the room and line up your center dowel with the corner of the room so that you know it's straight. Okay, so that's just a little tip if you do use a center dowel. Okay, so always look for the corner, line it up, because sometimes it's easy to stick it in like this, or like. So that's just something I've learned the hard way. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of chocolate in the center and a little bit of chocolate on the dowel, so you don't need a lot here. That's it. And now you can decorate your cake any way you want. Do a drip, do a fan, do chocolate fans, do fruit, whatever you want to. Your cake is ready to go now. And this won't move. The chocolate will set hard. Questions? Yeah.
How long can you keep the cake?
Oh, the ganache. No, you can keep your ganache in your fridge for weeks. And you can freeze it for months.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it on your cake, and you put it on.
Well, it depends on what kind of cake you have on the inside. Some cakes have got a very short lifespan. Other cakes have a 2-week lifespan. Fruit cake, well, fruit cake. So it depends on what cake you are using. Like sponge cake has got a very short life, where denser cakes normally can last up to 2 weeks. So it depends on your cake.